Alright guys, today what I want to talk about is wheeling machines. Mine in particular is hand fabricated, done 20 odd years ago with the help of my father-in-law who machined up some wheels and everything for me, because at the time, you know, the ones that you buy these days in a shop weren't available, so you sort of had to have what you have. I couldn't get my hands on a big cast iron one that the coach builders use, so this is what I've got now, and it's done me for all these years, so I love it. I'm at one with my wheeling machine in different times. Yeah, it's good. I've used all different types. It's getting used to equipment that you're used to. The big cast iron ones, they don't. They're fairly rigid and they don't move all that much. These do move a little bit, but if you're aware of how much they move, that isn't a problem at all, because you can still do your shaping and get used to how much movement and flex that you get in this upper end. This is fabricated. It has sort of three different angles on the inside and 2 on the outside, which is a box section. So it's quite rigid, but not quite as strong as the cast iron ones. But yeah, so there's a bunch of different wheels that I've got. Is your normal flat wheel that you have for doing tipping and rolling things flat. If you can use that in a bunch of different ways. If you cut out a piece of sheet metal and you want to just clean up the edge and it's a little bit rough from your tin snips or your shears, whatever it is, you can actually put your flat wheel in there, and then when you put it in, you wind it up, and then you just wheel it through, and I'll show you a bit later on in the video. We'll have a look. But that can just flatten everything out as you go. In saying that, you can tip the edge up so that sometimes you might want to just tip an edge over and you don't want any pressure at all on the inner part of your panel. So where you start to tip, you only want just the 2 edges on this part here to actually touch. So just putting a bit of sheet metal in, a bit of 1mm in there, and just locking it up, that can give you a nice straight edge that you can fold to, and you won't end up with any stress marks on the inside of your panel. Quick releases, they're good, not always necessary. I do have another wheeling machine, which is I bought one from a shop, still quite reasonably priced. Quick release isn't all that good, so I've just modified it to being hard and just wind it up to where you want it. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of a tip on that. There's a few different crown wheels that I have. It's not anything drastic, but that's a slight crown. There's a slightly bigger crown, which are beautiful when you're making just normal rolled panels. You can block them first, or you can actually just wheel them from scratch. Sometimes you want to get a really high crown. You can block the daylights out of something in your wooden block, and then you might need something to employ something like that, which gives you a higher crown. These are great for doing edges of vintage mudguards where you may have welded a couple of sharp edges together, and then as you roll it around, you can actually pull it around using these wheels. You can dress it up, or you can actually use it to wheel around at the same time with a wheeling machine. You swap this over. In this particular case, they're a different size in the cradle. These are just something that was made up. You take this cradle out, you put a different cradle in, and that allows you to change that, and it gives you also a wider area over a tighter angle to give you the profile change as you go around. So, okay, so the first thing I've got here is just a flat wheel, which is something that I've already done. Is I've cut this piece of metal, which we sort of plan on, we'll make a little bit of a chain case for a motorbike. Now what this has already been cut out of, it's got a bit of a burr on the edge. Now you can sit there and you can tap the burr on the edge around with a hammer or whatever, but what we've got here, we've got a wheeling machine, so why wouldn't we use it? And it's a rotary hammer basically anyway. So what we want to do is we'll just run that around, and that just takes the burr off it, so that when you start blocking, it doesn't actually, cut you, because it could be a sharp edge from your wheeling machine, and that's a nice blunt edge what we got there now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll swap this over and put in a crown. Alright. Just going to make a little bit of noise now. I'm going to do a bit of blocking now. Alright, so the idea is what we're going to do, we're not actually stretching the edges, we're only stretching the inside. So I'll probably stick to around the outside, from around the outside by about 25-30 mil. Alright. These puckers here, what we want to do, we want to block on the inside, but we still want to give those puckers a little bit of a hit, not too hard, just enough to just squash them down. I generally try and hit the same spot if you can, and move the panel around, so as you hit the same spot, and move the Okay, so that's got out most of the puckers. It's still roughed out, but that's not too bad. I mean, we can sit there, if you've got a plenishing hammer, you can dress it up on a plenishing hammer, or if you don't have a wheeling machine, that's what you're going to have to do. But with a wheel, the secret is you can bang it out, rough it out like that, in pretty much no time at all. You can put it in there and then just start wheeling it out. Just a little bit of pressure, you don't need that much. Turn it a couple of different angles just to get your edges. Okay, so that's sort of banging it out. You can still see the hammer marks in the background, but the idea is try and keep it fairly flat as you can. Push down on that. Righto, so that's got most of the main crown done. So what I'm going to do now is swap that high crown wheel to a slightly lower crown and just finish off the edges so that we can just iron out those edges. Basically it's like doing the ironing with oil. Swap that over. Good thing about a quick release is you can just lift it up, drop it back in. Still a bit more to do. Alright, so there you go, that's It might be rough, but it doesn't really take that long if you've got the right gear and you've got a bit of a an idea of how to do it. Then you know, that's it. So it's just a matter of utilising your equipment and making it work to your advantage. So pretty much that's what I can show you at the moment for a wheeling machine. Good luck. Okay, thanks.